All right, so unfortunately, hey, what's going on here with E-Tech Millie? And I was attempting to take off the whole tire, but then what happened was somebody has my truck, that has my car. So because they had my car that has, you know, all of my emergency stuff as far as my four-way and a few other little things as far as a breaker bar. Because if I had my breaker bar, I use the breaker bar. But since I don't have the breaker bar or the four-way, and I've looked in both my garages, and I'm like, you know what, let me go ahead and just hold off on it. So instead of doing that, what we're going to talk about is the brake system inspection checklist. So the crucial component is to ensure that the brakes are in proper working order. The brake system should be inspected periodically. The checklist that we're going to be looking at. All right, so this is a checklist. You can find this on our resources, community resources. So, you know, but yeah, this checklist is a handy reminder of the steps you should follow when inspecting the brake system. So first thing we check is the brake fluid. Steps to check the brake fluid. That's something we can do without actually checking the brakes. But yeah, let's go ahead and go through. Let's talk about it. So the first thing you want to do is look at minimum and maximum fill lines on master cylinder. Check position of master cylinder's float and assess the condition of the brake fluid. So a little consideration for brake fluid service. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Brake fluid service can promote brake pad life and longer caliper life. When contaminated, build up in brake fluid, they migrate to the brake caliper behind the they migrate to the lowest part of the brake system, which is the brake caliper. The contaminants will settle in the bottom of the brake caliper behind the caliper piston and can cause the caliper piston to bend or seize, which can shorten brake pad life and require caliper replacement to repair. All right, so we're gonna take a look at the brake fluid, and then after we take a look at the brake fluid, then we are to take a look at the brake pads. And when we look at the brake pads, which we've kind of already did, you know, from the external, just looking at how much brake pad life is in there. As far as the pistons, that's something that I did not really look at, but as far as the rotor, looking at the rotor, you can look from the outside. All these imperfections, these grooves that are inside, that's not normal. So what we might want to do is to, you know, I have a couple, you know what, here we go. Yeah, we can compare it in a little bit as far as that. But yeah, I have, I believe, a rotor that's new, you know, for the Camry. And I would like to show the difference of this one right here, which if you can see from the outside, you see all that imperfection, all that rust. And so this rotor is bad. Like this rotor, you know, you can change that. But yeah, but what I'm saying is I have a new one too. So I would like to show the differences of both of them. I don't plan on really changing this, because what I plan on doing is I'm gonna let the person know, like, hey, you want to give me this? Well, technically speaking, you know, okay, I'll take that, because you're gonna have to spend that money on getting some brakes done. So I'm at least let you know what needs to happen. Moving on. So checking the brake pads. So steps to check: raise the vehicle, remove brake caliper, remove brake pads from anchor bracket, examine brake pads. This is a full inspection for the most part, and this is if, like, you know, something's really happening to the brake pads. So if anything, if I was to do all this, I would do it to the passenger side, because the passenger side, like, sometimes it has like a funny noise or something that happens to it. So I'm thinking, like, maybe if anything, something may be kind of funny with that one. But you don't have to actually take all of this off in order to be able to determine if you have good brake pads or not. But if you are like trying to inspect just the period, yeah, the considerations that you are going to need after you're looking at the brake pads will be inner and outer pads should wear at the same rate. Uneven wear can indicate another problem. Excessive wear on outside pad while inside pad looks new can indicate seized slide pins. Inner pad wear with a like new outer pad can point to the caliper pistons dragging and not releasing when the driver takes foot off the brake pedal. So essentially, this is some good stuff to know. So if excessive wear on the outside pad while inside pad looks new, that means that it's a seized slide pin. So again, a slide pin is seized when the outside looks new. I mean, the outside is worn and the inside looks new. All right. And when it's and then another thing is when the inner pad wear is like new, outer pad can point to caliper piston dragging and not releasing when the driver takes foot off of the gas. So yeah, off of the brake pedal. So in order to check the brake calibers, what we're gonna have to do is examine the boots for damage like rips, tears, and cracks. Ensure caliper slide pin is moving freely, and a few considerations. If there is uneven pad wear and there are no issues with external caliper hardware, seized slide pins, brake pads, binding, and the caliper bracket, the cause could be a seized caliper piston or a restriction of the rubber brake hose. If the piston is hard to move or won't move when pushing the brake caliper piston back into the brake caliper housing, crack the brake caliper fluid bleed screw loose to the brake caliper piston now moves. This indicates a restriction in the rubber brake hose requiring brake hose replacement. If the brake caliper piston still binds or will not move with the brake caliper fluid bleed screw loosened, this indicates a concern internal to the brake caliper requiring brake caliper replacement. If brake caliper replacement is required, it is also necessary to perform a brake fluid air bleed procedure at that caliper. So just a few more things. Again, we are going as soon as I'm able to have my 4-way or my I guess you can say my breaker bar, you know what I'm saying? As soon as I'm able to get that, then we'll take care of it. Besides that, I'm not about to be over here sweating when it's really a 5-minute process, a 10-minute process, take one of them off. Not gonna do it. All right, so when we talk about the brake rotors, steps to take: get caliper bracket out of the way. Look at rotor surface for rust. Considerations: replace rotor if surface are excessively worn and or rusted. Examine caliper hardware. Steps to take: remove abutment clips. Examine area where abutment clips sat. Clean any signs of rust. Considerations: if the rust isn't removed, it can cause the brake pad to bind and the brake and could contribute to uneven wear. All right. So if you are interested in getting this from the little, I guess you say, real checklist from Wagner, feel free to go to our resources, and it's in there. All right. Besides that, let's go ahead and now go through the actually looking at the brake fluid and the brake master cylinder, and we're going to check the minimum, the maximum level, and then check the coloring and check whatever we need to check when it comes down to that. As far as dealing with taking off these brakes, these shoes, the feet, I'm not gonna worry about that. But yeah, wrong button. So All right, so whenever you're looking at vehicles, the master cylinder is generally in front of the driver. And with this master cylinder here, I don't see it. It's like it's covered up. Yeah, you can see it. It's right there. That's where the master cylinder is. You can, you know, it's kind of hard to see it when you got all that stuff in it, so. Yeah. So the master cylinder is right in front of the driver, and then the reservoir is right here. This is the reservoir for the master cylinder, and yeah. It tells you on the side, warning, clean filler cap before removing. Use only .3 brake fluid from a sealed container. And then if you're looking at it, this is the minimum. It's past the minimum, and this is the max. And so this is, let me go ahead and see. Right now, yeah. Had to make sure real quick. But yeah, so it's past the minimum. All right, and then I looked at the, oh, my bad, hold on. Let me give you all the fluids. So that it's kind of brown. Yeah, brake fluid's supposed to look like, hold on. Yeah, brake fluid's supposed to look kind of like that. Now, what we can do, if you really wanted to really make sure, they are these little sheets of paper where you can use it and test the quality of the brakes by the coloring of it. You know, they do have those, but I don't have those with me, so we're not gonna be able to do that. Trying not to get too much contamination up in there, man. Because remember, contaminated brake fluid will mess up the system. So. So yeah. So you check the brake count cylinder. I mean, yeah, the master cylinder. We checked that. The level between minimum and maximum and the color level wasn't that bad. So yeah, now we can call that quits. That's pretty good. But yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna check the outside of the tires to be able to see what we can see, and then just going over a few things that you can do when you're looking at them. So most times, most people are not going to invest that much time into seeing if the brakes are good or not, because taking them off, I mean, it's a little scratch. But I guess, you know, you can. You're supposed to really, if we had a four-way, we'll take this whole component off, and then we can get a good visualization of the brake caliber, the brake pad. Also, we'll be able to take a good look at the rotor. And oftentimes what I like to do, I like to see if I can make these little nuts move. That lets me know that some part of the assembly needs to be replaced. But with this one right here, you see all of this rust right here. And then when I take my finger and I go over it, it's like a lot of imperfection with the rust. So remember, when we have a lot of rust on these pads, it can lessen the life of the pad. If the rotor is like that, it'll lessen the life of the pad, and it might actually seize because of how the pad looks. So that's what's going on with this one. Where I feel like what's going on is when we're driving it, after a while, it does feel like it kind of sticks sometimes, especially in slow, especially in traffic. So that's one thing that I feel like is probably the problem. As far as the thickness of the brake pad, I'm using this right here to be able to determine and it's coming up around like right here. So it's coming up around right here. So I'm not really that worried about it. Again, all I'm doing is I'm just checking with a screwdriver, not to scratch it, but just to check the depth of it. So from what we see here, the wheel, the rim is, I mean, the caliber is pretty good for the most part. And after that, let's go ahead and go to the next side. So with this one right here, we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna check and see how much pad life is there. So looking at this, we see that it is using this. You can just see it right here. I'm trying to find. Yeah. So that pad life is like right there. So that pad is good. As far as this rust is not as bad as the other one. And I say that because the rounds, if you see the rounds, it's not, but at the same time, they can be replaced, you know, just again, because it's like, if you really want them to last long, that's what's going to have to happen. That rust is no good for the most part. Looking at this one, I believe these are drums. Yeah, if anything, these are brake drums, if anything. Or the only front brakes, one of the two. These are drums. Yeah, so we have to take off the tire to be able to check the drums. The problem with this one is not the back. The back, it has no kind of noise in there. One thing I like to do is I like to make sure I tighten up these lug nuts, because if these lug nuts are not tight, a lot of times what happens is with the wheel and it's not connected to the rotor or whatever, you know, properly, that's when you're going to run across a lot of issues as far as your driving stability. You're going to hear noises, and you know, sometimes all you got to do is get to the side of the road and tighten up. All right, so looking at this one is the exact same thing. It's a drum. We can't do too much with it. But yeah, this concludes the Ford Taurus and going through the Wagner, you know, checklist. So I didn't actually take everything off, but I will take everything off in a shorter vid film. All right, next time.